Okay, so recently I wrote a review for Backlogged about the Intellivision Lives PS2 anthology, which is pretty much like just a big collection of old Intellivision games for the Intellivision console, of course. And in the review itself, I really don't talk a whole lot about the games individually, which it was already a long review, so I suppose people would have just checked out before getting to the end, because there is more than 60 games, and I didn't even play all 60 of them. I just did like a third, which compared to the Atari Anthology, in which I pretty much played everything, should tell you a lot about how much I really enjoyed the average Intellivision game. But even so, there is still stuff that I consider to be worth checking out if you are really into the super old brand of retro gaming that I am also into. And one of the games in question is Night Stalker. The production notes here don't really have a whole lot about the history of the game, unfortunately. They just say that it sold a lot and it came out in '82. And the guy who made it likes robots. That's nice. The box art is... I really like these old 80s video game box arts. I already said that in my Atari Anthology videos, but even if you can appreciate how well drawn this is, there is definitely better ones for the Intellivision specifically. This one is a bit generic, like you got the giant spider, the bat, the robot, like these are very stock enemies. Even for the time, I think most would agree that they're not particularly creative ideas, at least in concept. As we're going to be playing in a second, there is a lot about this game that is fairly unique and interesting, and I'm going to be talking about it along the way. Okay, so Night Stalker takes place inside this one singular screen, which might not seem like a lot, and in a way it's not, even for back then, but I don't know, I do like the layout of this one screen, at least, for the most part. We're going to get to the bad part in a second. Right now, if you're looking at the screen and not just hearing me talk in the background, you are seeing that I've been hit a couple times by a bat, 3 times now. That didn't kill me. The only enemy that can actually kill me here is the robots. And right now there is only one of them because the game just started, but the more points you have and the more varieties of robots will appear, making the game, last a bit longer in appeal, even if it all takes place inside this one singular screen. You might also be wondering what the spider does, and the answer is that the spider is pretty much just like the bats. It cannot kill you, it cannot do anything different, but it's also more willing to stay on that corner of the screen next to the spider web. Speaking of the spider web, that's there to, if you go to the spider web, you're going to be having to move around a lot to get out of it. It's supposed to be some sort of trap, conceptually. Oh, fuck. But you're never really going to run to that specific part of the screen. So it's a bit useless. If it was in the middle of the screen where you're supposed to walk around more often, I think it would have been a good idea to make the game more wide. Fuck me! Oh, I swear, this is the second time I'm recording this video. I accidentally deleted the first audio, and in that instance I was playing a lot better than this. I reached at least 10,000 points without dying. I suppose I'm a bit miffed about the fact that I have to re-record everything. Also, I didn't know that if you shoot at the spider when he's in the web, the projectiles aren't actually gonna hit him. That's new content that I'm discovering in this second playthrough, so I suppose that means it was all worth it in the end. Again, you're probably already seeing this with your own eyes, but fuck me, stupid bet, stupid bitch-ass bet. If you run out of ammo, you will have to pick up the gun on some point randomly on the screen. I suppose that helps with, getting you on your toes, not just like sniping the enemies from a single spot. That's actually a very ahead of its time mechanic in a way. The way you shoot is very interesting. It makes a good use of the Intellivision number pad, unlike a ton of other games. You look at the number of the pad, like for example, the 2 would be up north and the 8 would be south, and that's where the guy is going to shoot. And of course, if you're playing with a PS2 pad or the Xbox One, in my case, that means you're just gonna be pressing the face buttons to shoot wherever you want to shoot, and that's good. That is a pretty good way to control the little guy rather than just shooting in one direction according to where you're moving, or maybe coming up with some other clunky system to, I suppose, make the character move in a direction where he's not moving towards to. Also, there is this thing here. You start every life whenever you die in this little box, and the enemies can't hurt you in here, which is nice, but it's also incredibly situational. Like the spider web, it's pretty much never gonna come up in any actual capacity. Maybe like in the hardest levels of the game, like towards the very end, when you have like 4 different robots trying to kill you, but like even then it's very situational. The movement is really hard to describe because like if you're looking at the game just by me playing it, you're not gonna think much of it, but there is this thing where you find yourself at a crossroads. Sorry, let me kill the bat here. In a spot like this, for example, if you press up, it's not just going to bump into the wall, but it's going to either pick left or right where to go to. For example, like I'm pressing up in both instances here, and it's telling me to go in 2 different directions. And I don't like it a whole lot, but you get used to it, I suppose. It's best if you have the hitboxes to be so precise. It's best to have this system at play rather than just getting the character stuck in the wall. Even though a lot of times you're just gonna run on the opposite direction of where you want to go, which isn't nice. And also I died one time because I thought that you could go to the left here, but it's the spawn zone of the robots, and I suppose they didn't want you to mess with that. Okay, 5,000 points. I just wanted to reach his specific score just so that you could see that there is multiple kinds of robots if you keep playing. How thrilling. They all feel very much the same in terms of like how they play. I think the higher you go, the more aggressive the robots become, but other than that, I suppose at least you get some visual variety, which is better than nothing. Alright, one other game that I wanted you guys to see from this collection is gonna be Thunder Castle. And Thunder Castle is gonna be in a lot of ways very similar looking to Night Stalker, but it's also very different. And I just wanted to take a look at the production notes for a second, because I find really fascinating the fact that the Intellivision games had multiple developers working on them at once. At least in the case of Activision and a lot of other games for the Atari 2600, most of them were just made by a single developer. And technologically speaking, yes, the scale of the Intellivision was slightly bigger than that of the Atari, but at the same time, I looked at the documentary that comes with the video game, the collection here, and it's funny that it's pretty much honest about the fact that all of these programmers didn't have a clue of what they were doing, and They even were fully aware of the fact that the Atari games did play a lot better despite the graphics being a bit less refined. So yeah, you probably might not find this particularly fascinating, at least not in the same way that I do, but I wanted to let you know about it anyway. Let's play the game. Did I mention that this game has like actual music, like a proper soundtrack made of classical tunes turned into chiptune? Probably not, but it's there, and you're not gonna hear it because I'm drowning it with my video game musics of choice in post-editing, but they're here. And oh yeah, I forgot another detail to mention. Well, no, I didn't. I did mention it in the review itself. I just haven't had the occasion to bring it up in this video. I like that if you press select, you're gonna see the number pad with the sticker that the game came out with. Something that I really appreciate in terms of like the preservation of the game. Even if it's very pixelated because it's a PS2 game, but I can live with that. Now, this, like Night Stalker, is a single screen game. You're just gonna run around here and trying to slay the big bad dragon. And how do you go on about doing that? Well, it's a bit weird. It's not complicated, it's weird more than anything. You have to touch the bats, and that's the only way that you can... well, not the only way, sorry. When you touch the bat, you're gonna become like invincible for a time. And while you are invincible, the dragon... What the fuck happened? Why did they spawn in that point? I was gonna explain. You touch the bat, you become invisible, and when you touch the dragon, you kill him. And that's it, but you can also grab these magical objects that when you grab them, you can press the action button, and that's also gonna turn invisible. But the thing with the, of course, magical objects is that you can activate them whenever you want, so they're more convenient, and of course they're also more rare. And I killed the dragon! Okay, that's good, because the first time I filmed this video, I died a ton before actually killing the dragon. Meanwhile here, I did it on my first try. Great reason of celebration, I suppose. But yeah, okay, the dragon is stuck, but I don't think I'm gonna reach it in time. Yes! Okay, cool. Killed 2 dragons. After I kill the 3rd dragon, there is going to be a new type of enemy showing up. Will I make it in time, or will I die before that happens? I guess we're going to be finding out soon. This dragon is way too fast, though. It's really annoying trying to catch up with him, and you cannot like run in any way. It says use object for like all the face buttons. It says even so in the instruction manual. I have... Oh fuck. Oh no, I didn't mean to restart that. Oh, there is this really annoying thing where you're in the middle of playing the game. If you press start, press the triangle, you think it's just gonna close the instruction manual, but it's actually gonna close the whole game. I don't like that. I've closed many games by mistake just by doing that. It's not a big deal, okay? It's just because I'm stupid, but I hope that this is the last time that this terrible mistake happens. Also, it's gonna be a bit annoying having to kill the 2 dragons again, because I think the way I did it just now was a bit of a fluke. And I'm gonna have to spend a lot more time. Or maybe not, because I already killed one. Okay, that's cool. And I grabbed again, like a sacred object. I grabbed it, but like... Okay, there you go. I grabbed it and now I can activate it. But like the other time I couldn't. Also, wow, that's pretty much like a world record pace there with how I'm killing the dragons. Never been so fast before. Did they comment anything about the fact that like the grass is spawning in and out of existence? I think I talked about it in the first draft of this video before I deleted the audio. It's really cool and makes the games have a lot more variety. Alright, and I want to at least get rid of this guy here. I hope it's not gonna take me long. I just like want to show off the new types of enemies that show up after. No, fuck, I'm stuck. Oh no, I'm stuck. Yes! Oh, that was so lucky. That was so lucky. I'm so glad. Okay. Alright. I really like the graphics here. They're very primitive, but they're also super charming. I like them. And I like the fact that each chapter has a different layout. I don't think I'm gonna continue playing for now. I just like wanted to show off the second part of the game. Fuck! Oh, the second! Before I could grab the crown or whatever that was. Oh, how annoying. But yeah, okay, that's the game for now. I wanna play one last before I leave you all. It's a good game. It's a bit slow and clunky, like all Intellivision games tend to be. This would have probably been a lot more snappy if it was on an Atari console. But it is what it is. I do appreciate what it can do right, at least. Alright, the last game that I want to play today conveniently sits right below Thunder Castle, which means that I don't have to look through the 20 different arcades that this imaginary virtual room is made of. This game is very interesting in the sense that it was initially meant to be released in '83, but Mattel at that point had given up trying to make video games for the Intellivision, so I guess they were just letting this project sit in a corner for a time, and they were content with that. But then another company, I think, bought the rights for the Intellivision. I don't know too much about that. The documentary doesn't really tell a whole lot about what happened after Mattel got rid of the gaming division. But pretty much this game came out in '87 is what I'm trying to get at. And that's very late. At this point I think the NES was already out for a couple years. And games that look like this, they're not gonna cut it anymore. I'm sorry. I know, like in the case of Thunder Castle, this was also a game that was very much delayed, but the game was complete. That's the thing. It was complete, and it just came out when, unfortunately, this kind of stuff was a bit passé. But this game was finished in '87, and it is a very advanced game for the system. There is no doubt whatsoever. I'm not going to try to disparage it in that sense, but at the same time, if you are a kid in '87, you're not going to be impressed by this. And if like a long, complex RPG with big maps and stuff like this is what you are into, then you're not going to be playing on Intellivision. You're going to be looking at like PC games, or maybe, I don't know. I actually don't know really much about like the history of RPGs that are this early, outside of maybe like Dungeons and Dragons, but like that's not. I'm talking about digital games, and this isn't really. In a way, it is impressive because it's an Intellivision game. But I'm pretty sure Zelda came out like before this game, just to like make a comparison. Everyone, this is the third draft of this video, at least for the final part. I was starting to think that I got a bit too negative for this game in particular, so I kinda wanted to correct the record on a couple of things before you even get to see them. But also, yes, this game did come out before Zelda, at least in Japan. But they're not really comparable games. They're just different genres of gaming. So again, not the right game to bring up to make a comparison to the NES system. Also, I wanted to compliment the box art because it's really dope. This would have totally made me want to buy the game if I was a kid in the 80s. It's really cool. It's like it's all the stereotypical dark fantasy notes. Very, very cool looking. Also, I did make a comment about the fact that, oh, this game is so easy, but I was literally playing at the easiest level of difficulty. So, like, what the fuck was I expecting? In fact, I'm going to compliment this game for having difficulty levels at all. The challenge, wizard hunt, crawl quest, novice, and you can choose like how many levels you want for each section. Okay, no, there you go. You can even pick up the class. That I didn't know the first time I started playing this. So again, I really needed to record this part again to make the game justice. I'm going to pick the knight. I don't know what the differences are going to be. They're probably gonna be very minimal, but it's cool that they are here regardless. Also, I didn't consider the equipment part at all. To be fair, it's kind of vague. I should probably read the instructions better to like figure out what all this stuff does. But yeah, this is a lot better than I was giving it credit for in terms of complexity and scope. Again, would this have been better if maybe like it was a PC game or it came out on the NES or any other console that was more advanced than the Intellivision? Yes, of course. But I'm gonna respect it for what it is. Why can't I move here? Oh my god, what's happening? I should have read the instructions. I'm making the same mistakes that I did in the Anthology, where I'm jumping in on a game that is a bit more complicated than the average shmup, and I'm falling face first whenever there is anything that requires a bit of thinking. I know that the objective is to go down or up the tower that you find yourself in, and I'm doing that, I suppose. I'm winning, I don't know. Like, I'm gonna be more charitable when it comes to like praising the game and the stuff that it does right, but it's still a bit problematic how easy it seems, at least so far, which is something that is rather unique, given that like games that came out around this time were all like incredibly difficult to increase the runtime. Okay, yeah, that's gonna be the end of it for now. I think next time I'm gonna try to see if there is some other collection or compilation of older games that I can put my hands on. Taito Legends, for example, that one is interesting. Last time I tried to boot it up, I had problems with the emulation, and I don't have a PS2 or a capture card to play them on original hardware. Plus, it's not like I'm supporting Taito if I do it. I'm just gonna overpay for some fucking retard on eBay that's gonna charge like $90 for this. Maybe I will ask credit, I don't know. See you next time regardless, and thank you for sticking out till the end of the video.